You guys, with the 2021 season wrapping up and the Phoenix Suns finishing off this season just on the verge of taking home an NBA championship, I think I can confidently say for almost any team that finishes in this situation, it ultimately leads to an unsure standpoint of how the following offseason is going to look. Because again, when you think about a situation like this and look back on what a team like the Phoenix Suns were able to do this year, there is no doubt this team is looking themselves in the mirror right now and saying we are confident that we can run it back again next season. We are just going to have to retain almost the same roster. The one thing about that is that this team right now is not fully confident they will be able to bring back the exact same roster, and a lot of this has to do with this man on the screen right now, Chris Paul. And I'm sure you guys have seen it as well, but there has been so much talk regarding CP3's decision going into the 2021 free agency period, and that is what we are going to be covering in today's video, because some spicy stuff has been going around the talk of the league, and I wanted to discuss this with you guys as soon as possible. Real quick, if you guys haven't done so already, don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoy, subscribe, and turn on those noties to never miss another NBA video. Love you guys. Now again, to get back on track, I think I can very confidently say that CP3 is one of the most highly coveted free agents this offseason outside of Kawhi Leonard, especially with what he was able to do this season with the Phoenix Suns and bringing this team up to a level of greatness that relatively no NBA fan thought they were going to achieve this year. And don't take that the wrong way. I know a lot of people were expecting some pretty high levels of improvement from the Suns team, but if you're going to tell me you predicted this team to make it to the NBA Finals before the season started, I would call you crazy. Either way though, with the leadership and determination shown from CP3 this season, it has opened the eyes of a lot of contenders trying to aim for this man more than they even were beforehand. I should also mention though, for any of you that are not aware, Chris Paul does have a $44.5 million player option on the table for him with the Phoenix Suns this next season. So this definitely adds a different perspective to what decision Chris Paul might make, because let's be real, that is an absurd amount of money for a 36-year-old point guard in the NBA, but there has been a lot of buzz going around the NBA saying that Chris Paul will decline this player option and either A, try to target a more long-term contract with the Phoenix Suns, maybe around 3 years or so, or play the wild card and take his talents elsewhere again to maybe lock in a more long-term contract, or even take a pay cut and ring chase. No one really knows his situation at this point because he hasn't said much regarding they just lost the NBA Finals. So right now, pretty much anything anybody says about Chris Paul's situation is up for grabs. And with all of this CP3 free agency talk going around, there has been 3 major teams that have made their way into the discussions, with these 3 major teams being, again, Chris Paul re-signing with the Phoenix Suns, CP3 taking a pay cut to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers and maybe get his first ring alongside LeBron and AD, and the other major one that has been looming around for quite some time is the idea of Chris Paul signing in the Big Apple with the New York Knicks. Don't get me wrong, you guys, all 3 of these teams that have been listed off so far present really ideal situations for Chris Paul, especially at this age in his career. Phoenix situation, I really don't feel I need to explain it, as we just saw how dominant this team is together this entire season. But the situation in New York is really one similar to what I see in Phoenix, as it is a team that is young and on the rise, and one that needs some leadership, and Chris Paul could definitely be that guy. And with the Lakers, as we already said, it would simply be to ring chase, play alongside LeBron, and maybe get that first title. But what has made the Chris Paul situation that much more interesting over the course of the last couple of days is that I have seen 2 new teams sort of weave their way into the discussions about signing Chris Paul in 2021 free agency, with the first one of these being, believe it or not, the Boston Celtics. Now I should mention right off the bat that relatively the only way Boston would be able to pull off something like this would be through a sign and trade with the Phoenix Suns. Again, this would only be able to happen if Chris Paul walked up to the Phoenix Suns front office and said, hey, I'm leaving this offseason. If you want to get something from me in return, you better trade me. And I've seen some suggestions of this sign and trade, with Boston sending some players to the Phoenix Suns such as Marcus Smart, Tristan Thompson, maybe even Aaron Nesmith, with picks on top of that, of course, if need be. But if you are in the Phoenix Suns situation, they might even look at this scenario and be like, you know what, we're better off to test what we can do in free agency without doing a sign and trade. And I know the talks about getting Chris Paul and the Boston Celtics are not nearly to the degree of the other teams we have mentioned, but it was something very interesting that caught my eye over the last couple of days. And I really wanted to gauge your guys' interest on this and see what you would think of CP3 playing alongside Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in Boston. However, you guys, moving on from the Celtics, there is one more team again that has found their way into the CP3 discussions that I never would have expected to see. Maybe some of you did before word got out, and if you did, props to you, but it is actually the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I think it's obvious to most of you watching this video as well that the Mavs have a lot of questions to answer this offseason, because it really seemed to come out of nowhere in the the last couple of months that a lot of pressure has been put on the Mavs front office to build a contending team around their rising superstar in Luka Doncic. The clock is ticking relatively fast to put some pieces around this man, especially with Luka still being on his rookie contract and not taking up a large amount of cap space. And with this, you guys, what better piece to put around Luka Doncic than the one and only point guard? I don't know, you guys. I'm really curious to hear what you would have to think about a situation like this, because again, the Mavs are going to have to show that they can make some other moves, I think, before CP3 would be interested in joining them. But I am also well aware that Luka Doncic is as enticing of a player to play alongside as pretty much anybody that you could get, because I think we were all witnesses this season to the fact that Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic are not working out to the degree that the Mavs were hoping for. The essence to get another star alongside Luka Doncic to make a deeper playoff run in the next couple of seasons is without a doubt at the top of their radar. But is Chris Paul the kind of guy that the Mavs want to go after to do this? Because even with the late age of Chris Paul, it was very obvious that that did not have a major factor in how he played this season. But we all do know that age seems to hit at a random point for almost any NBA player, and if the Mavs were to try to lock up Chris Paul long term, it may come back to haunt them in the end. Who knows though, you guys? It's just food for thought. I'm really curious what you have to think about the Chris Paul situation in general, because CP3 and Kawhi Leonard are ultimately highlighting the free agency pool this offseason, and I know it would be shocking to see either one of them switch teams. But like I've said in almost every single NBA video, we have definitely seen crazier things in this league. Ultimately, you guys, I want you to let me know what you think Chris Paul is going to do this offseason. Is he going to take his player option? Is he going to decline and re-sign a different deal with the Suns? Is he going to go elsewhere? I want to hear what you guys have to say. But on that note, I'm really hoping you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, don't forget to go down below, leave a like on it, and subscribe while you're down there. You guys ought to know by now we're coming out with brand new NBA videos on a daily basis around here, especially with the offseason finally getting underway. It's one of the best times of the year, you guys. You know this as much as I do. We're going to have so much fun covering everything that goes down. But once again, I thank each and every one of you so much for watching. I appreciate y'all more than anything in the world. You all know this, and I will see you guys in the next video.